So recently Minecraft announced their next big update. Included in this update was the long requested, much anticipated auto crafter, which is really cool. And 6 months ago I would have been very excited, but now that's not really my reaction. Let me explain. And in order for me to explain, let's talk a bit about the game design of automation. I'm mostly going to be using Factorio and Satisfactory as examples, as they are the two most popular games in the automation genre, and I own both, so it's a little easier for me to record footage. Factorio is a game where you are an engineer stranded on an alien planet, and you have to build a factory that will supply you with the means to launch a rocket, as well as protect yourself from the native wildlife. Satisfactory is a game where you play as an employee for a company called Fixit, and you are tasked with making a factory that can supply complex components back to the company via a space elevator. In an automation game, there are 5 categories of automation: acquisition, transportation, alteration, combination, and expenditure. Acquisition is how you gather items from the game world. Both Satisfactory and Factorio automate this process with autominers, a machine that when placed in the right location will collect the resource it is sitting on. Transportation is how you move around the collected resources. Both Satisfactory and Factorio have similar methods of transporting items, typically by a factory-style belt, but also by pipe, train, or flying drone. Alteration is the process of changing one collected resource into another. We often see this with smelters. Iron ore goes in, and iron ingots or plates come out. Combination is similar to alteration, but instead of one thing going in, 2 or more things are inserted and one thing comes out. Lots of the time the new item could be crafted manually by the player, but when automated, a machine does it for you as long as you can provide it with the resources it needs. Expenditure is where you use the end product. This is less important for the subject at hand, but just for the sake of completeness, it's where the products you've produced are used in the world, perhaps to further expand your factory, add decorations, or is removed from the game and some type of reward is given to the player, such as advancements in technology or decorative cosmetics. These 5 categories of automation make automation games extremely satisfying, especially if the game is designed to have you do many of these activities manually first, helping you appreciate a fully automated process even more. But the thing that really makes these games so compelling is how they use small components to make complex systems. For example, the inserter in Factorio is a robot arm that moves an item from one side of itself to the other. By itself, it's not really that interesting, but depending on what you place on these 2 sides, the single component gives purpose as it becomes a part of a complex factory, and it's up to you to decide and design how this small component will play its part. From extractors to transport belts to smelters, combiners, and more, the small individual components can be assembled in unique ways to solve the problem of how can I automate this, and the process realistically and naturally presents problems to be solved that real-world engineers face daily, such as efficiency versus size, or scalability versus modularity, and all the logistics in between. The creative freedom to experiment with and combine these simple parts to solve a problem and end up with a complex machine unique to each player is one of the main things that makes an automation game so fun. Now, I'm not going to pass judgment here on which of these 2 factory games is my favorite. I love them both for different reasons, but the truth is, neither one is my favorite. In fact, my favorite automation game is actually a mod from Minecraft, the Create mod. Most of the components in the Create mod use rotational power. This rotation is produced with water wheels, windmills, or boilers, and is conveyed with cogs, shafts, and gearboxes, and can then be used by fans, presses, millstones, whisks, and other little factory parts to accomplish your factory needs. The Create mod, especially the modpack Create Above and Beyond, is in its own league of using simple components to make complex systems. For example, the transport belt in the Create mod by itself is just an item and can only be placed on shafts that are in line, and when the shaft rotates, the belt will carry items on top of it. The speed the belt moves depends on how much rotational power you provide. In most automation games, the transport belt is a small component, but in Create, there are small components that make a transport belt, giving you a bit more freedom to use these components how you see fit. Or another example, in Factorio or Satisfactory, if you wish to smelt iron ore, you just have a smelter, and you insert iron ore to extract iron. But in the Create mod, to smelt iron ore, you might need to use an encased fan, which can blow air through lava to generate a superheated area, where iron can then be dropped, and if the ore stays in the heated area long enough, it will become an iron ingot. In both Factorio and Satisfactory, there's basically only one way to smelt iron. But in the Create mod, I came up with a bunch of unique layouts to get the job done. each just as valid as the next, and each just as possible depending on your factory. In a way, the small components of Factorio or Satisfactory are the customizably complex systems for the Create mod. Also, most every component in Factorio or Satisfactory are single function, except perhaps power poles in Satisfactory because you can also use them as a fun way to get around. But almost every component in the Create mod is multifunction, like the transport belt can also be used to convey rotational force instead of just carrying items. Or this component called the encased fan, which when provided with rotational force will blow air, and if you invert the rotation, the fan will pull air. And the faster you spin it, the larger the area it affects. And if it blows air through fire, lava, water, or soul fire, any item passing through the affected space can be altered, cooked, smelted, washed, or haunted. And the encased fan can just be used to move items horizontally, or when placed under a chute can transport items vertically. And in the Create Above and Beyond mod pack, when the encased fan is over a fire, it will become a generator of rotational power instead of a consumer. In each category of automation, the Create mod outshines both Factorio and Satisfactory. In these two games, the process to acquire items is to plop a miner down. But in Create, it's a cobblestone generator, lava generator, crystal grower, tree planter, and harvester, just to name a few. And each can be designed by the player to suit their needs. The speed by which items can be acquired isn't based on arbitrary upgrades, but the ingenuity of the player. For transportation, I've already talked a bit about the Create mod's belts, but just like in Factorio and Satisfactory, you can also make trains. But the trains in Create are not just another machine you place down. No, instead you craft each train, block by block to fulfill the function you design and look the way you decide. For alterations, I've already demonstrated by talking about smelters. For combination, in both Satisfactory and Factorio, it's just a machine where you insert A and B to extract item C. But in the Create mod, there's a special component called the Mechanical Crafter that expands on Minecraft's already revolutionary crafting system. In normal Minecraft, you can make an iron pickaxe like this. So Create's Mechanical Crafters could be set up like this and be fully automated like this. In the Create mod, even the process of auto crafting was reduced into simple base components that could be added to a larger system at the will of the player. Now, vanilla Minecraft has always been the king of this design principle. Simple components that alone do almost nothing, but when combined can form a complex system with a chain reaction of mechanics that lead to amazing results. And to be honest, has always outshined even the top automation games in the automation category of acquisition. I mean, have you seen any of Ilmangos' Minecraft farms? And this is part of why I love the Create mod. It feels like the update Minecraft has needed all along, by keeping that same level of excellence, but in all the categories of automation. It feels like it belongs in Minecraft, unlike many of the other automation mods out there. This is because both the Create mod and vanilla Minecraft use extraordinarily simple components to make complex systems that are completely customizable by the player. But now for Minecraft's next big update, when it comes to the long anticipated automation category of combination, you just get another autocrafter. I mean, it's cool, and it makes me excited for playing some vanilla Minecraft when the update finally comes out. And I guess it fits into the vanilla Minecraft style because it's what the smelter is, just another smelter. But because of the Create mod doing it so much better, and in a way that in my opinion feels like how vanilla Minecraft should do it, my reaction to hearing about Minecraft's autocrafter was exactly the following. With no kidding, these exact thoughts. Huh, that'd be cool. Anyway, how can I transport a lava bucket back to that side of my factory?